In terms of gear for safety, we have safety goggles, which is great for keeping dirt out of your eyes when you're pulling plants out of the ground, as well as branches that might hit you in the face. We have thin gloves that have a rubber coating on them. These are great for pulling small vegetation, especially stuff that is not thorny. The rubber front gives you some decent grip on those plants. And we have thick leather gloves. These don't have great mobility, but they're great for managing thorny vegetation. Alright, so some of the tools that we use for cutting vegetation include hand pruners. These are great for clipping small, young vegetation, as well as clipping off any seeds that might be there or flowers, so that you can bag them and not move them around when you're managing. We have loppers, which are great for reaching high vegetation or cutting some thicker vegetation. And we have my favorite cutting tool, the handsaw. It is definitely the most versatile of the tools. Really allows you to cut through some of that thicker, older vegetation with a lot more ease than a lopper might. We have a few tools for digging. My favorite is the pickmatic. We have a flat end for digging and loosening up soil, and a pointy end which is used for getting underneath that root mass and prying the plant out of the ground. This is really great for medium to large size shrubs and trees. And when we use a pickmatic, we always like to keep things waist level and below. We're not miners, we're not swinging this above our heads, but just in case, we always wear a hard hat when we're using a pickmatic. Just be wary of helmet hair. We also have a much more common tool, the shovel, which offers a lot less versatility, but does about the same job as a pickmatic would. And for smaller jobs, we have a mini pick. This cute tool has a flat end and a sharp end as well, and is really good for small vegetation that might have a tougher root system, vines for example, or ground cover. The next tool we have is the weed wrench. This honker of a tool has a clamp on one end that you get around the base of a plant. You put your foot down on this end, you clamp down on that plant, and then you leverage that plant right out of the ground. It's a bit of a hefty tool, pretty heavy, but doesn't require nearly as much digging. You may need to loosen the soil a little bit, but you can get bigger trees and shrubs, anything that fits in that clamp, out of the ground with a lot more ease. We also have a boot brush, which is really important to carry with you anytime that you go for a hike or are managing vegetation. The boot brush has a brush on one end and a pick on the other. It's really great for cleaning off your tools, any mud or seeds that might be on them, as well as your boots, so that you're not moving around invasives as you're managing them. In terms of disposal, there are a few different methods that we'll talk about in this series, but contractor bags are a really great item to have. Typically, the best practice is to double bag vegetation, tie it up, leave it in the sun for a few days to solarize and kill that vegetation, and then just throw it out in the normal trash.